Okay, so everybody ate pizza, so we're gonna do a little warm up ourselves. So raise hands if you've heard about spec-driven development. Okay, keep your hands up if you've written at least one spec. Okay, more than 5. Okay, more than 30. Can you replace me, please? Cool. Okay. So the idea is called spec-driven development. It's more of a methodology rather than like tool using. You can actually use any AI agentic tool for that. We will get to that. But first, why you should even listen to me, to be honest. I'm an engineering manager at Spot. I run 3 teams right now between different technologies, mobile, backend, frontend. I built an entire tech stack for a book tracking application, 50,000 users. That included 2 mobile apps, Django backend, React CMS, and 2 AI production systems, including neural network. Most of it with specs. I'm actually writing a book on it with modding, which is a headache. Don't do that. And I'm curious to the point of insanity, so I won't sleep if something interesting just dropped. So I made all the mistakes so you don't have to. And yeah, let's go. Quick agenda. We're going to talk a little bit about the current landscape, what's there, what are the problems that engineers see, what is a spec, and we will actually see examples. So what's the current landscape? Day to day with AI. Social media is full of people like that found this one perfect prompt that will give you millions. Your boss is probably telling you that you should use AI without telling you how to use it and what for. And there you are. You tested different tools, you tested different mechanics, and doesn't seem to be more productive, to be honest. I actually experienced that a lot with a lot of engineers. So the idea of spec is kind of to solve those problems. AI slop. A lot of engineers tell me that low quality code is produced by AI. You play around with AI, it will create code, but it will forget about security, it will over engineer, it will put a lot of comments and ignore your architecture entirely. More debugging than coding. You generate once and then debug forever. So basically, you don't know what you generated. So you're basically just debugging, and figuring out what the hell AI just generated and losing the context. With more and more AI generated code, you actually lose understanding of your code base if you don't track what's being generated. You just push into the repo and eventually you figure out, I don't know who wrote this, why, and what's it does in my project. So specs to the rescue. How many of you know test-driven development? Perfect. So without going into too much detail, the idea is write tests before code. It's a little bit counterintuitive at first because you're actually writing tests before any code is written. So it will fail immediately, but you write code, you refine code until all unit tests pass. Then, of course, you do the review, but at least you know that the code that has been written does exactly what it should be. The spec-driven development is pretty similar, but instead of writing tests, you write a comprehensive spec. And the spec includes product requirements, dependencies, edge cases, architecture, implementation plan. It's seriously a very detailed document that you refine with AI agent. You don't write it, of course, yourself. You just sit with AI agents and you build it together and refine it. Once you're happy with it, you just execute it, go grab a coffee, and come back to a perfect code that you understand. Okay, so what's the workflow? How to actually do that? So first, we have spec building. So you sit with AI agent, any agent that you like. list out requirements, edge cases, seriously explain your architecture. You will see the code examples in the spec, and you can refine them. You can tell agents, I don't like it, that's not how we do things, and so on and so forth. You will see the design. This is a fun part. And you remember about the dependency scope. You are the architect. You know your code base. You are the domain expert in your project. So we have full control of what's in there. Spec refining. This is actually a process that keeps on repeating until you're happy. But basically, the first spec that is going to be produced, it's not going to be perfect. So you will read it, you will catch mistakes, and then basically refine. Of course, again, you're not writing it yourself. You're just shouting at your agent, do this, do that, and it will improve. Then execution. This is the most fun part, because this just happens, and you can do laundry, for example. When you're further along in your spec-driven development, you will actually start refining your spec, and eventually you find yourself working on 3 projects at the same time, which is crazy, but it's possible. And verification. You verify the code. You do actual code review, you manual testing, automated testing, whatever, to make you feel that what was produced is what you actually intended. Okay, so basically this was theory. So how does it look like? How many backend developers here? Okay, we have a couple. I'm looking at how it looks like. Okay, specs are very different for each technology. But you will see things like proposed file structure. You will see implementation plan, learnings, implementation details, blah, 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 blah. A lot of things like that, a little bit bigger. Example of model and actually how to get data. It comes from your code base. It's not something that agents figured out and guessed. This is actual methods from the code base that you talked with agent about. You designed those. You can see this and say, okay, this model is named differently. We don't use that, blah, blah, blah. So you just keep on improving that with your agent until you're satisfied. And as you can see, it's extremely, extremely detailed. Usually building such a spec takes an hour, I think, around, but it's gonna be detailed. How many front-end developers? This is the magic. I mean, I love this, to be honest. This is my favorite thing of AI agents. Gemini loves to do this, and other agents doesn't like this so much, but Gemini CLI constantly creates ASCII art with designs, and it's beautiful because if you're working for a startup, you don't have a designer, or you want to POC something, you just describe what you want, and then basically AI agent will design it. And this is a wireframe of a design that I will show you later as an example. It just built it out like that using real code and not ASCII art. Mobile developers. How many mobile developers? Nice. View pager 2. I don't know. Classes from Kotlin. Whatever. It's, as you can see, it's very, very different for different technologies. And if you know your code base, you actually understand what's here. Example of view pager layout and behavior. You can see that there is a description of pagination, how the transitions should look like, how the grid should look like, background, whatever, title. It's all here. And again, I haven't written that. I just described the feature that I want. In prompt, there's like, okay, I want the view with 9 books, 3 by 3, and it should be titled full vibes challenge, and this was generated, and it uses my architecture and my naming. For example, I see pumpkin placeholder. This is the actual resource from the code base that the agent found. It doesn't guess it. It just goes through the code base and describes it. The very neat thing about mobile is this one, mobile translation. In mobile developers, how many hybrid mobile developers? Okay, we have some. You're gonna hate me for that, but I found out that actually I have two native applications, Android and iOS. And at first I was building both of them without having knowledge about Swift. But I actually figured out that if the feature is the same, meaning I have to copy it to the two platforms, I built it once in Android, and then through the series of, hey, translate this to a specification for iOS, and then on iOS, hey, translate it based on our code base, I can write entire feature on iOS without a single line of code and prompts. Basically, it works like a one-shot. The entire workflow is I write the Android feature, then I ask, describe this Android feature in a tech-agnostic specification. I put this tech-agnostic specification into iOS project. I ask, hey, take this tech-agnostic specification, look into the code base, our patterns in iOS, and build iOS specification. And based on that iOS specification, execute this thing. And last 5-6 features I did in one shot. Basically, just doing those prompts, and the feature is there on iOS. So it's actually very, very fun and cool. Cool. How to build a spec? Basically, any tool you like. I use every CLI over here. So you have Gemini CLI, you have Cloud Code, you have Codex, if you're into it. And basically, here's the prompt. Specs new, that's a very, very, very extremely short slash command for mistakes that agents tend to do. It's basically do not start coding in caps 3 times because those agents tend to just start building until you shout at them. So once I do, this happens that seriously, this is just a description of a feature. It was for the CMS in React, very basic. You see that I'm describing the endpoints, I'm describing the sorting for auth use permission, and this line is enough for it to understand. Why it does understand? Because it looks into the code base, it looks at my patterns, at my architecture, it actually looks at the previous specifications, which is also super cool and very useful, because I keep all of my specifications in the repository, and I ask Claude or Gemini to look at the previous specifications, and it just learns from it how we work. So this line is actually enough for it to protect all of my endpoints with the right permissions. And this is it. This spans the first specification. You read it. It's usually around 1,000 lines of text. The more you build it, the more you skim the specification instead of reading it, but you find the edge cases, the issues, and you just say to the agent, this is not how we do it. I would prefer it to do this that way. Or, for example, hey, we have this very neat extension that you forgot to use. Instead of building this once again, just use the extension. And it just improves, improves, improves. And then we have a verification, very fun step. I cleared the context, so I killed the CLI. I started once again. And my slash command, sorry for this, because this is, I know, too much text. But basically, I say, okay, you're an experienced Django developer. look at the specification and tell me what's missing. What are the gaps that prevent you for actually pulling this off? And usually it will come up with around like, I don't know, 10 questions. What are the questions here? UI model missing from spec. Again, missing model, additional usages, backend readiness, asking me, for example, if the backend is ready, because we're building the front end. So it asks because it's scared that it's not going to work if the backend is not there. And usually my answer is this: yes, yes, ready, no. It takes like 10 minutes for me to read all of the questions, answers them. Based on those questions, agent will refine the specification once again, ask any follow-up questions if there are any. If not, just go ahead and execute. What are the benefits of this approach? You have the full control of the architecture. Instead of prompting, where you just go into the agent and say, hey, build me this, and then you're surprised about the code, right, that's being generated. Maybe it works, but it's like totally different that you envisioned. You have the full control. You are the architect. You can see the specification in full. You can see the architecture, the test cases, everything is in there. So honestly, if the software that is built after this process is shitty, that's maybe not on an AI agent. You catch edge cases early. Basically, you see the issues because you are the domain expert. The biggest advantage of human over an AI agent is that you have the experience because you've built this software for years and years and years, and you know your project. AI agent is new there, so it kind of sees the code base, but it doesn't understand why this method was created 2 years ago and what does it do. So your expertise helps with that. So if agent makes simple mistakes, you catch them on the specification period. You don't catch them after the code is created and then you have to debug. You actually see the entire process. And the biggest benefit, I mean, maybe not the biggest, but also very important, is that you maintain knowledge. So the specification is in the repo. It's your documentation. It's very neat because usually when you go in, you create new feature, half a year passes, and then you come back and you're like, what is that and who created that? In that case, you would go into the specification and you actually have a full documentation, and it's technical. So it tells you why you build it, what was the reasoning, what was the idea, what were the edge cases that you considered, and so on and so forth. It's a full technical documentation written beforehand. Okay, I'm going to show you something, which is kind of a little bit, it's a live demo. Cool. Okay. Like I told you, I've built the book tracking application. Book tracking application is like, basically you track your reading. You add all of your books that you've read. I don't know, you look for new ones and so on and so forth. One of the very, very important features in book tracking application is a search. You have to be able to find books. If you cannot find them, then users will kill you. Trust me, I've been there. So this entire page web app is for comparing searches against the competition, of course, because why not? So it allows you to add results from the search for 50 queries, which are very, very weird, and basically gives you pointing. This is the main page with this actually tells me that I have some work to do because I haven't filled all of the apps yet. The full leaderboard. The leaderboard tells you what were the rankings for each of the queries. It's very small probably for you. The competition here as well. It gives you the comparison against categories. This is a list of all the queries, of course, is searchable. You can go into the query, you can see the golden results. So something that should have appeared if you've written Harry Potter in the query, and the results from the applications. So you can compare. There are screenshots here. There is a comparison per query for all of the applications that you select. You can deselect, of course, just to be focused. There is a per query breakdown, so full rating for all of the queries here. The golden results, this is a fun feature that you can add results manually, but you can also paste the JSON, and it's of course interchangeable, and so on and so forth. And right now, for front-end developers, who wants to estimate this? This is both front-end and backend. Backend is in Node.js, front-end is in React. Backend is connecting to local MongoDB. No authorization, nothing fancy of that, but couple of features here. Who wants to estimate it? Couple days. It was written on Saturday. I have no knowledge on React.js. I have very little knowledge on Node.js, and those are the specifications that build it. And this is the way I kind of approach this is a big project. So what I did is I've built a high-level architecture. So I just listed out all of the features that I want. The high-level architecture was built, and as you can see, of course, ASCII art is already here, because why not? And what actually the agent did was it created stages. It created 9 stages, because I already knew that this is too big for one specification, because if I build it in one go, it would be unusable. So I asked agent to build a high-level spec, then divide it into the stages. And then for every stage, I just resetted the context and created a full-blown specification for the entire feature, for the entire phase. As you can see, there is the file structure here. There are the layouts. So this was built with Gemini for sure. There are the components. You can actually, the icons already selected for the navigation. Placeholders, it's long. It's long, but to be honest, the more you do it, you will start skimming through it and finding the edge cases that you know that are there, and basically telling agent to fix. This is a very fun section that I always ask for, the implementation plan. It actually gives you like tickets in the Jira. So step by step, it has it builds a neat checkboxes here. So whenever it finishes the step, it actually checks the checkbox. So I don't know, you run out of tokens and you can just come back and say, hey, start from the step 7. And yeah, basically 10 specifications. And as you can see, yes. Oh, this is the layout that I showed you. And this is it in real life. So I saw it before it was created because I saw an ASCII art, and I could say, okay, I need this section lower, this section higher, and so on and so forth. So you adjust it on this level, and then basically execute, and it gets created exactly like you want it, like you architected it. And yeah, again, this is on my GitHub repo. If you don't believe me, you can look at the commits. I started at 11 a.m. because I'm a night owl on Saturday, and finished at 1 a.m. Sunday, I think. And it was done. So one Saturday, everything was done. No code written by me at all. And I think that's all.
Nice questions.
Yes, the question about the stack. Do you use any persistence over there? And is it deployed anywhere apart of your local host?
It's not deployed, of course, because it's localhost. The stack is React.js, Node.js, connected to MongoDB. It was a project for me. It was not, of course, deployed for production grade, but it's not like I've built only that. Like I said, the 2 mobile applications, backend for 50,000 users. This is used all the time. And I've built it with 200 specs by now. And again, I don't write any code in those applications. And it's just, it works and it's secure.
I can comment that you can easily deploy this web application with help of Firebase Genkit, probably in one command.
Yeah.
It will host the website.
So if I correctly understood, you are using and build everything only for the new code, but no?
No.
Have you ever, like, maybe you can share like any experience if, for example, you have 5 years old project, maybe like, yeah, go on.
Yeah, this is the legacy project adventure that we went on in the company. It's way difficult, more difficult, of course, for the greenfield projects that just writes itself. For the legacy, you need guardrails, you need actual, I don't know, conventions, for example, to be able to work with that. But the best trick that kind of worked for a real legacy old project was that I created sub agents for the libraries because the complexity of the project actually was in the libraries because we had a lot of internal libraries that of course agent didn't know about because there was our internal libraries. So what I did was I created the sub agents for every library, and the sub agent is just an expert in this library. And the way it works is there's a script that downloads the full code base of the library, and the sub agent just sits on this code base and answers questions. And the main agent, if they need something from the library, they just ask the sub agent and it answers the questions. And it actually started understanding more and more of the context. So yeah, it needed more steps, of course, I know, but it can be done.
Thank you for the presentation. One question. Several times you mentioned that your applications are secure. So how did you evaluate it? Did you conduct some white box, black box testing, or it's only words from the AI that yes, it's secure?
It's based on my knowledge, based on my domain expertise. I'm not a product manager that decided to build an app. I'm an engineer that built a lot of apps standard way. So that's why you need the domain expertise. And I'm not saying give it to product manager because they will do stuff. They will create it and they will deploy it and then you will cry. But once you are a domain expert, you can evaluate it on the specification part.
Thank you for the presentation. What can I say? Neat. Very good. I want to ask you a few questions, maybe a bit technical, but how often you clear the context window while working with these specs?
After every stage, yes.
So after every interaction with the agent, you are trying to clear the context window and you're preserving all the context in a spec, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. It will be a bunch of questions. Sorry for that. Please try to answer shortly, but
Yeah,
you're doing great. Okay, the next one is, do you have some mechanism of for the agent, some spec for the agent to learn on its own mistakes? Something that
yes.
Okay, could you please
have
show?
good questions. Yes. It's called learnings section. Why not? charm. This is a live demo.
Yeah, this is like that, for sure.
Okay. Yes. Risks and mitigations, learning findings. I actually ask agents to note. Ooh, I went too far. To note the learnings during the coding, and I just destroyed it. Basically, there is in my slash command, there is an ask to create a learning section. And whenever agent finds something during the implementation that it didn't know about or we didn't plan, it will put it into the learning. Usually it happens after a verification step, for example, or during the implementation, he's like, this is not fun. This is not what I intended. So it just put it the learning. And the way I use it is when I build a feature that is actually similar to something that I've already built, I reference the previous specification, and it works very well.
Are you trying to, let's say you're working with VS Code, are you trying to add files as a context manually, or you are just hoping that the agent will grasp everything by itself?
I don't have like context, a lot of like, or you mean code-based context?
Code-based context.
No, so I intend to wait for the agent to find them themselves, and it usually do.
Okay.
The only problem that it has is with Swift, because Xcode is a beast, and this was the issue with one of my files that agent constantly couldn't find, and I just put it into the Claude MD. This
Okay.
is where it is. Find it.
Okay, and the last question: how often do you commit the changes? Are you keeping like intermediate specifications?
I
or not?
usually commit after the creation and validation of the specification. So spec is ready, I commit, then execute, commit, and then code review, commit.
Okay, and like, are you familiar with Spec-It?
I've heard about it, haven't tried it, but one of my engineers tried it and it worked. It just uses, of course, different file namings, different directories.
Yeah, okay. And maybe just one more thing for me. I'm just trying, when I'm working with it, I'm just trying to keep the agent occupied and just to not to start implementing. I'm just ending my each prompt with create implementation document.md, and he like putting all his work there, not trying to change any code classes, etc. Yeah, thank you.
Look, no coding, please, no running commands. This is seriously in the slash command. This is like the only thing that's here actually. Just don't code, build specification. Yes.
Maybe questions from my side. Have you tried this approach with mobile projects? Does it work the same?
Yeah.
Similar?
Yeah. This is exactly what I have both Android and iOS. And right now, honestly, I write features in Android and then just translate to iOS. It's
Perfect.
super cool.
We trust you.
Yeah, hi. Thank you very much for this presentation. I have a couple of questions. And my question related to how to support it, right? Because look, in your project, with some time, a bunch of such specification appeared, maybe thousands of files, right? So it would be a lot of text, and you just lost in it, not? What's your?
I mean, I keep them, honestly. All of them are in like one folder. They have numbers here, so of course they don't like I have the full history. But yeah, you can see that the only difference is that for backend I have mobile specs and CMS specs because whenever I create a backend feature first, I again tell agent translate this to tech agnostic specification for mobile, and this contains just list of endpoints and list of models, but no like Android specific stuff. And I just copy it to the Android, and from that build the Android specification. So this is the only like grouping that I do. Probably after couple thousands of specifications, I will have to think about something different, but for now it kind of works.
Okay, and another question here. So you develop this feature, and yeah, as our product develop, for example, you need to change this implementation. You would rewrite this spec or would create version .2, for example, to keep the
Yes.
history.
I create version 2 and I'm looking if I have it already. It is somewhere here, but I've already, yes, have this, had this experience. And what I did was I said, hey, we implemented this feature in spec number 15. This is the changes that we would like to do. Please write a specification for the update. And there's a separate specification for the update. It references the original specification. It references the code base that is there, but it's a separate specification. I don't update the previous specifications because I kind of want to understand what was the reasoning in the first place.
And maybe last question from my side. So as I understand, specification in your scenario is source of truth. So code should reflect specification. And maybe do you imagine what do you think could happen the situation that by developing some new feature, you write the specification that code or agent then rewrite some part of your code from another specification, and your old specification wouldn't reflect these changes?
Yes. Again, this is like a history of change. So if it touches something that we're not currently building, I don't update the old specification because I want to have the history of changes. But what sometimes happens is we write a new feature, we build a spec, we start implementing, and then something goes wrong. And I ask, we debug, right, what was the issue. And then based on debugging, we have to change the code that we just created. In this situation, I always ask agent, hey, please update the spec that we're currently building, because yes, this reflects the mental process basically of building of this feature.
Okay. Do you remember that Andrzej shared that he is an owl? Yeah, he can answer your question all night. Contact him directly. Don't remember to use his. Andrzej, could you share your last slide here?
Yeah,
just
sure,
to make
sure.
photos. But yeah, let's proceed with a couple of questions, maybe 3 of them. Let me give it mic to you.
Okay, so you told us that you are doing also code review. So are you also giving any code guidance? Like, for example, you don't care if this code would be like anemic model, like many thousand line code, or you have some also coding guidance to make code easy to read?
This happens. The main logic that the agent creates, it will put in the spec. So you will see it ahead of time. It won't, of course, show all of the code, but at least it will, write a idea of the logic. But for the architecture and stuff like that, it actually reads from my code, because again, in the slash command, there is a ask for please use our architecture, our way of coding, and so on and so forth. So it's just copies what I already built. So that's why the more specs you build, the better it actually will get, because it understands your architecture and your idea. But if something gets written that is like horrible and you see it in the code review, then I go back to the agent and I say, no, we have to rewrite it, we have to divide it, we have to just put it into other classes and stuff like that. No, it doesn't read the whole repository, but I'm thinking about the example. I don't know, if we're writing new network models for the mobile, right? I have all of the network models in one place. So it usually what it will do, it will actually just briefly look at a couple of those, 2 maybe, and just understand how we write and then create new one. So it doesn't read the entire code base because it would be, yeah, it would kill it.
Okay, I like the question. I like the question that was asked about agent overwriting features from the other specs. So my question now is how the testing look like on this project. Do you have some regression testing to not to like testing manually all of the functionality after each new feature?
I'm usually testing manually a lot, to be honest, because it's my project. I don't have like but I have a suite of UI tests, and they were also written with AI, of course, because why not? But yeah, there is like a 270 UI tests right now in the Android application that I just run before the release. And this is for the old projects, I think that this is a good start to have a good testing harness. So you know that whatever gets created new, it's actually tested.
By the way, what subscription do you use?
Cloud Code Max. $100 pays extremely well because I build lots of stuff. I also have Google AI Plus, I think, because I have 2 terabytes of data thanks to that, but it gives me Gemini CLI, and I've never run out of tokens with Gemini CLI, to be honest.
Okay, 2 last questions. Not you will. Your questions will be last.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. And my question would be more general. Like, what do you think? Would we move into the versatile documentation for humans and AI, or we would split like documentation for humans and these specs only for AI?
Okay. Interesting question. I mean, I'm an engineer, so I can read those specs. But if I gave it to my product manager, he would be like, what is that? So one of the approaches that I'm going to try out probably next is actually product manager writing a PRD. PRD is a product requirements document, right? So it's like just a set of requirements, what needs to be there. And then based on this PRD and the code base, build a technical specification. So probably 2 steps, to be honest.
Yes. One more question regarding tech stack decisions. As it's your personal project. So the question is, why did you decide to create 2 native mobile apps instead of 1 cross-platform? Because it looks like a bit complicated to write Android spec, then convert it to tech agnostic, then write iOS code, because it looks like you have simple client-server applications that are not running to some
I know it looks like that. I know it looks like that, but I would show you a couple of features that I wouldn't do that in the hybrid. But the truth is, the project started 5 years ago, and I hated hybrids. So I built Android. I didn't know how to build iOS, so I started with Android. The iOS was built actually last year. So yeah, but yeah, it was just 5 years ago.
Okay, thank you.
This is a beef between Flutter developer and Android developer.
I know.
Okay, I think we've done. Yeah, thank you,
Cool.
Andrzej. It was
Thank you.
amazing.
Cool.